Well, would you look at that? A new version of Ignite just dropped. Ignite 10, Ignite 2024, Ignite Reloaded, Ignite X. For those who don't know, Ignite is the boilerplate React Native project that helps you get up and running, use the best practices that we at Infinite Red have cultivated for almost 10 years now, since React Native basically first came out. If you've ever started a project and wondered, where do I put my files? How do I structure my components? What kind of state management do I want to use? How can I generate my components and not have to retype them every time? What about internationalization? What about theming? What else? Ignite does a lot, but the ecosystem is always constantly evolving. So with that, Ignite also needs to evolve. So this year's installation, Ignite X, Ignite 10, bunch of new pretty great stuff. Let's talk about it. So we love Expo and have fully built this on top of it. We previously allowed Expo Go, which I think is still a great option for prototyping your app, but I think Ignite is mainly targeted towards those professional React Native developers building a production level app. We actually removed Expo Go in favor of Expo CNG or the pre-build flow, because that is likely what you're going to need, and that's what we use for most of our apps anyways. Shout out Frank for that one. We got dark mode finally. It's 2024. We finally have dark mode. Now we added a theming system now for Ignite, which we weren't sure the best way to do it. We ended up kind of rolling our own vanilla theming, which is working really well. I used that with Mark Rickert on a project this year, and we've tested it out and works great. So shout out to that, dark mode and theming support in Ignite now. Next up is Expo Router support. Expo Router is the hot new thing this year. All the cool kids are switching to use it. You know, it is probably where the industry is heading, if I had to guess. So we needed to make sure that we supported it in Ignite. We also wanted to use it in all of our projects if we could. So Frank did a bunch of great work this year to build Expo Router support into Ignite, which leads me to my next point. It wasn't an easy task to do because Expo Router now makes it file system based routing, like you would use in Next.js or something. But we already had our opinions on how to structure files in the Ignite app, so we actually needed to kind of switch things around so that the app directory could be used by Expo Router now, which leads to us building in a bunch of configuration now on flexible directory structure support for basically everything, which is nice. You know, great to have feature regardless, but especially for Expo App Router. Frank and Lizzie did a lot of that work there, so shout out to them. Option to remove MobX state tree. I worked on this one, so I'm going to talk about this one and hype it up a little bit. No, we have been big fans of MobX state tree at Infinite Red. I think that's a great option for your state management, but we realize, well, one, state management is all across the board. We've seen in the surveys on the React Native developers that there's a lot of different options, and we don't want to stick to just one. We want to offer flexibility for people who may not want to use MobX state tree. It's still built into our demo app. We still prefer it, but we wanted to make it easier to kind of jump, still use Ignite, be able to launch your own project, but be able to swap in a different state management solution. Next up, we moved from async storage to MMKV. If you're not aware, MMKV is incredibly fast. It is a much faster alternative to async storage. It's not even async, which is wild. It uses a lot of the new architecture technology, but regardless, that's what we prefer now. So we went ahead and swapped it out. So goodbye async storage. Hello MMKV. I18N reloaded. This is internationalization. We switched to use React I18 Next for most of our projects here, so we wanted to switch Ignite to use it as well. A lot of this is influenced by a lot of the work that Mazen did. He gave a great talk on this, and the work to do this was done by Felipe. Ignite really does have great internationalization built in automatically, which is an awesome thing to have when you start an app. Just those patterns are already set in place, so you can easily support internationalization without really that much effort. Next up are some lint configuration updates. Now I know your favorite subject and everybody's is linting. No, that's why we put it in Ignite, is we want to have a good setup for you so that you don't have to go and tinker with it a bunch. So thank God Lizzie got in and did a bunch of this updates, because that means I didn't have to, and I don't have to in any of my Ignited projects. What else we got? We got a little clean house, doing a little split C between the toggle component. Used to do a lot, and now we split it up into checkbox, radio, and switch, which I think that's a good call. And Frank did that one too. Frank is everywhere. Improved keyboard avoidance. This is one of those things that it is just so weirdly difficult to get right in a React Native app. So we're constantly making Ignite better. Felipe added React Native keyboard controller, made sure that we're doing keyboard avoidance right from Ignite. So thank you, Felipe. Go check that out. And another thing that most projects do, if you want to go in and actually test your components, React Native testing library is kind of the standard. It's what you should be using. So in a true Ignite fashion, we provided a good example example here. Lizzie, thank you for using React Native Testing Library. So that's there. Use it or not, but the good example is there in case you want to follow it. That's what Ignite's all about. So that is Ignite X. Again, this is constantly evolving. We're always working on this stuff, trying to make it better every year. So if you have any opinions on what you want included, what you think should be differently, please join the Infinite Red community Slack. This is where we get all of our ideas. This is how we decide these features. We would love to hear from you, love to get feedback on this, and would love for you to just try Ignite on your next project. Let us know how it goes. We think you'll enjoy using it. We enjoy using it, and that's why we continue to work on it. But shout out to everyone that did a lot of good work on this. Shout out to the community, and shout out you, the viewer, for making it through this video. Cheers.